What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, back with another movie review. Today, we're going to be talking about the second installment of Ryan Johnson's Knives Out trilogy. We're going to be talking about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. For those of you who don't know, I did do a review on the original Knives Out. If you guys haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can watch it. But let's not wasting more time. Let's talk about this movie. So, I am a big fan of the first Knives Out movie. It came out in 2019. A really, really good murder mystery. Back at the time where I was kind of lukewarm about Ryan Johnson as a director, and especially when it came to his contribution to the Star Wars franchise, I was like, about him. Not to say that I think he's like a bad director. I just feel like he's an acquired taste for me. But that first Knives Out was such a surprise. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, especially because when it comes to murder mysteries, I'm kind of lukewarm about that too. Um, but yeah, just really, really enjoyed the first Knives Out. But I did not expect for it to get a sequel, let alone a franchise. I thought it was just a one and done deal, and I would have been satisfied with that. But it turns out that Netflix did a deal with Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig to make two more Knives Out sequels for Netflix. And they gave them $400 million. Let me say that again. Netflix gave Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig $400 million for the rights to Knives Out and make two more sequels. That is nuts. And there was only one stipulation that Netflix gave them, is to make sure that the next two Knives Out movies have the same budget as the first movie, at the very least. To give you some context, the budget for the first movie was only $40 million. So let's say it'll take about 80 million to make the next two movies. They still will be left over with at least $300 million. I guess if they want to contribute that to marketing and other stuff like that, then maybe they'll add a little bit more than 80 million. But still, they'll be left over with a lot of money in Ryan and Daniel's pocket. That's part of me feels like it's once again Netflix being irresponsible with just throwing a bunch of money at all these projects. And I think it's one of the reasons why they're in financial troubles right now, is because they're throwing a bunch of money at these projects irresponsibly. But I guess as long as the projects are good, I almost feel like it's worth it. But I still think that Netflix needs to change their strategy. And surprisingly enough, they actually are kind of. They're taking a little bit more risk with this. So they decided that with Glass Onion, that they're going to have a limited release for Glass Onion in theaters during the Thanksgiving weekend. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a week, and then later on they're going to release it on Netflix. Which I actually think that's an interesting idea. I think if this plan works, I think it'll be very good for Netflix to get more, income, and also have more subscribers and viewers, to get their subscriptions up for for these projects, and for people to actually know about the movies that Netflix is releasing, because the marketing for Netflix films and most of their projects in general, shows included, very piss poor. A lot of people don't even know about even half the stuff that Netflix has. So I think this will be really good for them to have this limited release in theaters, and then later on releasing it on Netflix. I think they will be able to build their subscriptions up more if they do that. So I decided to go see Glass Onion in theaters, just to support them, and also because I am a big fan of the first movie, and I'm of course very interested to see Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc in more mysteries and adventures. So I was excited for that. The one trailer I saw for it, it was good. It was good. It looked fun. It looked more, bombastic. It was in a different environment as the first movie, so I think it's good to keep it fresh. But yeah, from the one trailer I've seen, because Netflix doesn't do that many trailers, it does look good. It did look as fun as the first film. Um, so going to see this in the theater, I was also surprised how packed the theater was. So I definitely think this is a good sign for them doing this, because you had people that were fans of the first movie, which was a critical darling and Oscar nominated, and it did really well at the box office. So I guess I should assume that the turnout would be pretty good, even with it being just a week release. But yeah, sitting down and watching it, man. Um, Thank goodness. I really enjoyed this movie too. I think I enjoyed this almost as much as the first film. I thought it was such a fun time. It was very, very well done. Um, one thing off the get go, I was surprised about how cinematic this movie feels, because like when it comes to Netflix movies, I mean, there's a few of them that that break this stereotype for Netflix. But when it comes to most Netflix movies, like you almost feel like there's still somewhat of a TV quality to them. That it doesn't feel like a theatrical release, whether it be like the story, the level of storytelling, or the cinematography, or the effects, or the performances from the actors. Like you almost feel like there's something that doesn't feel like there's something that doesn't feel like you know big in scale as regular theatrical movies. But this movie does feel very cinematic. Like it feels like the same. It feels just as cinematic as the first movie, if not a little bit more. Like it does seem like they put a little bit more money into this, even though it's not like a complete it's not a complete black and white difference between the first movie. Like it doesn't try to be like this big action blockbuster, but like they actually put time and care just as much as the first movie, and I definitely appreciated that. Which is why I'm glad that they did release this in theaters, because I do feel like this is a theater worthy movie. I'm not going to give away any details, any important details about this movie. I'm going to be spoiler free about this, because I think this is the best way for you to see this movie if you haven't seen it already. Like going into this blind. Like for me, I just saw that one trailer, which didn't give much at all, and ended up being really surprised with all the twists and turns that this movie has. So I'll tell you this: the performances I think are awesome. I almost feel like the dynamic between all these new characters I think are a little bit more exciting than they were in the first movie. And I did enjoy all the performances in the first movie, but like these characters that we follow in this film, I think has a lot more personality. It's different dynamic, as I said. And I found all the performances really, really good. You know, like Catherine Hahn and Dave Bautista. I thought he was very good in this movie. He's really stepping up as an actor. But yeah, Catherine, I thought was very good. I think this is a really good step up from where I saw her as in WandaVision as Agatha Harkness. Still not very excited for her Marvel standalone show, but we'll see what happens. But I thought Catherine Hahn was really good. Kate Hudson, man, she was hilarious in this movie. I before this, I wasn't like the biggest Kate Hudson fan, but like I really enjoyed her in this. Jessica Henwick as her assistant as well, I thought was very good. Um, Leslie Odom Jr. was also in this. He was very good as well. Like the performances across the board are very great. The standouts, of course, we got to talk about Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc. Really enjoyed him in the first movie. I didn't expect to enjoy him as much as I did, but I did. And even with his ridiculous Southern drawl that he has, it's a part of his character at this point. Like he definitely is a standout of this movie, and I'm excited to just follow him throughout this Knives Out franchise. And I gotta say, in this movie, he was so much better than he was in the first film, because we weren't really able to see like that much development from him as a person because we just seen him as a detective and him just focusing on the detective stuff, but it was just nice to see a little bit more of his personality in this movie. Like you get to see what makes him tick. He's actually able to have a little bit more fun with in this, since he is going to this remote island with all these other eccentric high status people, and him just being in an environment that he's not used to. I guess I should also keep. I guess this is not really a spoiler, but and it's not really important to the plot. But like this movie does take place during the pandemic, which I that's a creative choice I didn't think they would do. Because I think people will be sensitive about making films that has to do with with the virus that we had to deal with for the past 3 years. But like, yeah, this movie took place during the pandemic, and you see how Benoit Blanc wasn't able to solve that many mysteries because of that. Like he was isolated at home, and so he was just eager to get back out there and solve like this a really big mystery, and he was able to do that in this movie. So it's just nice to see a little bit more character development like that. Just see a little bit more emotion out of him, seeing what excites him and whatever, seeing him in like unknown territory. I think that's very very good. So I thought it was awesome. We also get a little bit more inclusion in his personal life. I guess they're confirming that he is homosexual, which I thought was okay. That's cool. That's interesting. That he's gay. Like I said, they didn't make a big deal out of it. But it was just interesting to see just a little peek into his personal life like that. So I thought it was interesting that we got to see that from him. Another standout, of course, was Edward Norton as Miles Braun. He's the one that brings everyone to his remote island to solve this mystery. Him playing this eccentric billionaire that narcissistic. I thought it's just very entertaining to watch. I miss seeing Edward Norton in movies. It seems like we don't get to see him that much in like these mainstream movies like this. And I was let down that he wasn't able to continue playing the Hulk in the MCU. But I'm glad we get to see more work from him because he was very very good in this. He was very out. He was one of the standouts in this movie for sure. And then of course we got to talk about Janelle Monáe in this movie. So good. I am not going to spoil what they do with her in this movie, but like she was asked to do a lot, and she knocked it out of the park in my opinion. I was a fan of Janelle Monáe before this as an actress, but I didn't feel like she really reached the level of her being a really really good actress until Hidden Figures. That I think that was the point where I really saw her as she could be one of these heavy hitters, and one of these days I think she'll be nominated for an Oscar. And I definitely think she should be nominated for an Oscar for this movie because she brought her A game to this for sure. Um, like I said, I don't want to reveal anything about the plot or what has to do with the murder mystery in this. Um, Other than Edward Norton's character, who's really rich, who has this remote island, brought all these high class people, including Benoit Blanc, to this island to solve this mystery that he created for himself. That's really all I could say without without spoiling anything. But like, this movie has a lot of twists and turns in this, a lot more than I expected. Like the writing is just it was pretty complex, for this to be like a, more of the, the funner type of murder mysteries. I was not expecting this. There's a lot of intricate parts that go into this, a lot more than I felt the first movie had. And I've definitely appreciated that. But that also keeps it from me saying that it's better than the first movie. I mean, this is probably just my personal issue with it. I wouldn't say like it's necessarily a criticism of the movie. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that appreciate how complex and like how many twists and turns there are in this movie, and they were able to follow everything that was going on. But this is just coming from me, from my my low IQ self, I guess. But there were times when it came to me trying to follow everything that's going on with the plot. There was a couple of moments that I felt I got a little bit lost. a little bit lost. There was many twists and turns in this. Then there was quite a few of them where like I didn't follow what was going on. You know, um, it wasn't until when they revealed everything, like you know, at the end where I was like, oh, okay, oh, okay, I see where you were going with that. Oh, I see how that happened here. But like, yeah, there was a couple times where it was just for me, it was hard to follow, and it was kind of taken away from like the fun Nate tone of the movie, the crazy stuff that was happening. I did enjoy myself for the most part. I definitely don't think this is bad. I still think this is a really good movie, and I do think it's almost on the same level as the first film. I do think this is the worthy sequel to the first movie. So don't get me wrong at all. But just for me personally, I just wish it was a little less complicated than the first movie. Because that's what I appreciated about the first film is that there was smart writing in it, but you felt like everyone would be able to follow what's going on. In this movie, they try to be bigger and grander, and for the most part, it does keep it fresh and it's good. But there's just a couple of times where I felt like it was trying to be a little too ambitious. But that being said, I still thought it was a very good movie. I definitely liked the different scenery we have in this film, opposed to the fall in forest stuff in the first movie. We get to be on an island, and it's warm and like tropical. And I was surprised they released this type of movie in the fall, going into the holidays. Because it does seem like a summer blockbuster, but I do think I'm glad that they released it around this time. Because you definitely see that there's people going out to see this movie, and I definitely think this is going to be a hit when it comes to Netflix. So overall, man, it's a really good film. I recommend you guys see it. If you guys haven't seen it already, go watch it. Go watch it in the theater. I definitely, if you're able to, before it if before it leaves theaters, I think you guys should go see it in the movie theater. I do think it's worth it. But if you can't, or if you're skeptical about seeing it, definitely go watch this on Netflix. I definitely think it's worth seeing. If you are a fan of the first film, I think you'll definitely love this movie. Um, but yeah, man. Overall, I am going to give Glass Onion a Knives Out mystery. I'm also going to give it an A. It's a really great movie. Go see this film. Go see it in theaters if you can. But if not, go ahead, check this out on Netflix. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Glass Onion. What did you guys think about it? If you've seen it, did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. I'm really excited for Knives Out 3. I can't wait to see that. I'm looking forward to this, this franchise continuing. And hey, who knows? If the third movie's very successful, maybe they won't stop at 3 movies. Maybe we'll get even more from this. You never know. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, please leave a like. I really appreciate it if you guys leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of you that watch my channel that is not subscribed. Come on, guys. If you guys watch more than 3 of my videos, you guys enjoy watching me. So please subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to be notified of future videos I'll be doing, hit that bell while you're at it. But that's all I have for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.